Hello, my name's Natalie Morris and I'm a curator at the BFI National Archive. I don't normally get to do much cooking as part of my day-to-day job, but today I'm going to be combining food and film by making Alfred Hitchcock's Quiche Lorraine. This French classic of bacon, eggs and cream baked in pastry was one of the director's favourites, and it even featured in his 1955 film To Catch a Thief. Let's begin by making the pastry. We get a bowl, we need 2 cups of flour, 1, 2, half a cup of butter. We just need to rub the butter and the flour together. This might take some time. As well as being an important part of his life, Hitchcock used food to great effect in his films. Hitchcockian meals can be sinister, seductive or humorous, and sometimes all 3 at once. In Notorious, for example, it's a crucial plot point when Ingrid Bergman gets poisoned by coffee. In one of Hitchcock's late films, Frenzy, there's a lot of humorous scenes where the chief inspector's wife, played by the lovely Vivian Merchant, serves him up cordon bleu meals that she's extremely proud of, but which actually resemble body parts and slightly turn the inspector's stomach. So you want the flour and the butter to almost look like breadcrumbs. I think we're nearly there. Quiche Lorraine features in To Catch a Thief, Hitchcock's 1955 film. To Catch a Thief is set on the glamorous French Riviera. Cary Grant plays a retired jewel thief who falls under suspicion when wealthy widows' diamonds start getting robbed. When a Lloyd's insurance man from London comes to pay a visit, Cary impresses him with his continental sophistication by serving up Quiche Lorraine for lunch at his villa. The scene's humorously undercut when Cary tells his guest, when they've been discussing the quality of the pastry, that it was made by his housekeeper, who has an incredible lightness of touch. He then goes on to note that she strangled a German general during the war without him uttering a sound, at which point the insurance man looks slightly perturbed. And I'm not quite sure how my pastry is going to compare. But I've never killed anyone with my bare hands. Lightness of touch, killing German generals. So I think we're there. Now add an egg yolk. As a tidy and fastidious man, you can see why Hitchcock didn't like eggs. He described them in a radio interview as slimy and dirty. Now we need to add 1/4 of a cup of cold water. Then we just need to mix this all up. Use your hands to bring it all together. I think that's pretty good. Put it together into a ball, wrap it in some cling film, put it in the fridge to chill for about half an hour. You can leave it for longer if you like, it probably makes it a bit better actually. So the pastry's been in the fridge for 30 minutes. Dish. Gently roll the pastry up, put it over the flan dish. Don't worry if there are any cracks, you can just fill those in with spare bits of pastry. Now the recipe specifies that this makes enough pastry for 2 quiches, but quite frankly I don't believe that, so do feel free to use the whole amount of pastry for just 1. Push the pastry into the edges of the tin, cut off the edge of the crust. Take a fork, prick the bottom of the pastry case, and that will just help the egg mixture sit nicely in the case. And then back into the fridge for another 30 minutes. This just stops the pastry shrinking as you bake the pie. Quiche purists look away because a traditional quiche Lorraine does not contain onions. Technically it becomes a quiche Alsacienne, but I think we can forgive Hitchcock and we will follow his recipe to the letter. Chopping board and a knife. Culinary knives often get turned to murderous ends in Hitchcock films. In Blackmail, the heroine kills a would-be rapist in self-defense with a bread knife. And in Sabotage, the saboteur, Oscar Homolka, meets the sharp end of a carving knife after he makes one too many grumbles about his wife's dinner. Onions are chopped. And pan on a sort of medium to high heat. Oh, I get my knife, I need a bit more butter. Onions in the pan, and we just want to saute these until they're golden and soft. While these are cooking, I'm going to chop up the ham, cut the fatty bits off, and cut into cubes. Set the oven to 190 degrees C. Take the pastry from the fridge, it's been in there for half an hour now. Add the onions, ham on top. Finally, the custard. Saucepan, 4 eggs. Add a pinch of salt, pinch of cayenne pepper, and a grating of nutmeg. Now you need to take a whisk and you beat up the eggs. Put the eggs onto a low heat and then slowly add 2 cups of hot milk. Although Hitchcock loved things like quiches and soufflés, he professed to actually despise eggs. As I said, he described them as slimy and dirty, but Hitchcock told the actor Joseph Cotton, who starred in Shadow of a Doubt, that he could never stand a naked egg. So I think they were fine as long as they were mixed up into other dishes, just on their own they were not so good for him. You just need to keep whisking this up until it gets slightly thick and a little bit pale. You need to keep it on a low heat so the custard doesn't curdle. Take your flan case, pour the egg custard over the rest of the mixture. Okay. And now into the oven. The egg custard is set and the top is nice and golden. Alfred Hitchcock's quiche Lorraine, best served on a terrace in the south of France with Cary Grant and a glass of wine.